And then, Jacob, while you're down there, could you... Fuck, we're recording. I do this every time. Oh, my God. Well, I guess we'll just do it. We'll do it. It's Flyperbole. Hi. Welcome back to Flyperbole. And this is, of course, presented by our good friends over at FanDuel. And joining me today in place of Ryan Quigley, who is apparently too good for this show anymore, it's Jacob Russell from Broad Street Hockey. Jacob, how you doing today?
I will never be too good for you, Steven. Don't worry about it. As long as Quigley is on his jaunt around the eastern United States, I will be available to fill the shoes, whatever size shoes he is. I will jump in and they will fit snug on me. I promise you that.
I'm wondering what size shoe Quigster is right now.
He strikes me as a 10.
I bet he is. If Quigley,
never met him.
Listen to this.
Never seen him in person.
He's a tallish guy. I think he's a little. I want to say he's like 6 foot, but I'm not 100% sure there. I wear a 13 or 14, depending. And I'm only like 5'11".
Right. What the hell is that about?
I don't know. I have huge feet, and it's very frustrating to buy shoes. So I don't like it. I prefer to have smaller, normal size feet. I have to buy like special larger socks.
You're buying Shacks. You're buying the Walmart brand Shacks, size 15.
Most of the time when I go to the shoe store, the section is ending when I am trying to find the shoes I want.
You're in the corner. At the Nike outlet, you're in the corner.
All these 12s, and I'm like, this isn't going to help me at all. God damn it. I think my feet got bigger in recent years because I'm wearing bigger shoes now. So it's very stupid.
That works. You may want to check that out. I don't know if that's a sign of
gigantism.
More issues. Yeah, gigantism. Maybe. Yeah, you're just continuing to grow. Maybe one day it's just in your feet. One day it'll be size 20.
Your feet probably shouldn't continue to grow at age 40, but
You and Victor Wembanyama.
Yeah. Oh God, I couldn't even imagine being Wemby. That man's proportions are just insane. Like,
all right, so
we're just starting off,
kicking off with the discussion of men's proportions and the blow me.
Listen, this is exactly why I do this show like I do it. Okay, this is why I do the show like I do it. Because when I'm over on PHLY, I gotta be a little buttoned up. I gotta be on good behavior because it's not my show. It's Bill's show. And there's, like a ton of reads and everything.
Well, yeah, you got window sponsors, flooring, insurance. There's a lot of very important industries being represented.
Sometimes you have man taint deodorant.
Yeah. Can we also, take another quick detour. Have you been noticing, I think people will actually understand what I'm talking about when I get into this though. Have you been noticing the strange perfume commercials that come on during Flyers games?
Oh my God.
This is the perfect avenue to discuss this. I keep talking about this in Slack. What is that about? Does anyone understand that?
I don't know. It's like, if you haven't seen these commercials, it's essentially like a series of because they're terrible.
They're horrifying.
A series of talking heads of women that might be AI generated for all I know.
I feel like it has to be at least AI voiced. It could be
I think the commercial was written by an AI for sure.
Yeah, AI is deeply involved in this product.
Yeah, but it's a series of women just talking about like what a gentleman does, or a proper man, or something. Like, a proper man holds the door. A proper man never lets a woman pay for dinner. Listen, a lot of us are broke these days, ladies, so cut us some slack. But it's just like shit like that, and just like, and then like, I think it's a cologne to like, if you want to smell like a proper gentleman, there's like, being a gentleman is complicated in 2025, but you can smell like a gentleman with this shitty perfume or cologne.
Yeah, essentially it's a cologne commercial, but it's centered around like very specific and like computer generated sounding wordings of like what a gentleman does. I've seen it like 3 times now. I always seem to tune in the games when that commercial pops on. I don't know why. And I immediately go to the Slack and I immediately start asking everyone if they saw the commercial.
Yeah. Well, because you're watching it and you're like, what is this?
It doesn't feel like it should be in sequence. Like it's an ad for like a Nissan dealership. And then that. And then you go to like the regular 800th FanDuel ad, and it's like, wait, that the middle one is like it's almost like a YouTube like banner ad you scroll past on your homepage. It's weird. It's like a mobile game ad, but for like mail order men's fragrances. I don't like it, and it's very sensual, and I don't like that. That's a Flyers After Dark thing. That can only play when we're going up against the Kings.
Well, this will be in the next couple of weeks, right? When they go on that West Coast trip. So I guess that's the perfect time to play this sexy late night AI generated perfume commercial, cologne commercial.
That is actually, yeah. It sounds like there should be a number you should call at the end of the ad.
So happy you brought this up, because like I've been meaning to talk about this and I keep forgetting to add it to the sheet. And again, because I'm doing like 60 podcasts a week now, I don't have the mental capacity to remember. I did just finish an MBA class though, so I have a little bit more mental capacity now. So I've got that going for me. But
you and Wemby again.
Me and Wemby, we're just brothers right there, brothers from another mother and father and everything. But
I always say that. That's my go-to joke. I have a friend doing an MBA as well. I always just say NBA. It's not funny. It's not original. I'm gonna go with it though.
What's original here? I mean, come on. What's really original here?
Perfume commercials.
No, they're not original because AI made them.
That's true.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
I would like to bounce back to the Saunders thing real quick. I don't want to talk about it for a long time. But before we get into the hockey talk, because there is a lot to talk about today, but Tim Saunders, I actually feel so bad for him. So what happened, essentially, if you haven't heard this clip yet, is Flyers radio play-by-play man Tim Saunders, who, by the way, is amazing. One of the best in the biz. What he does is so difficult. Like, because play-by-play is tough, and play-by-play for hockey is tough because it's so fast. But play-by-play for hockey on the radio is unimaginable to me, because there is so much going on to describe. And Tim Saunders is like the Micro Machine Man. Like, he is just talking a mile a minute, but it's all clear, it's all concise, and you know what's going on. So he is fantastic. I've also heard he's a great guy from multiple people, including, people that have worked with him. So like, I'm gonna cut Tim Saunders a lot of slack here. All right. But it's a tough job.
Yeah, it's tough. There's, especially as a lot of people talking to you while you're doing it as well. Like, I think a lot of people might confuse like the process for just being, he is headphones on, he hears the game audio, and he's locked in on the rink, and he's just talking to his partner. No, there's people talking to him in his ear, telling him when they're going to break, when they're not going to break, 20 seconds, 10 seconds, 5, 4. Like, everyone's counting down, giving him different bits of stats and information in his ear and stuff. So, and he's been doing it for so long, I assume he basically runs the show, right? But it is very unfortunate timing for old Tim there. Definitely, hilarious in multiple different ways. The reactions very funny as well from both him and Todd Fedorak.
The fridge, Todd Fedorak.
The fridge was giggling a little bit there. It's hard to take it too seriously. It really is, because it's one of those guys you've done it without incident for so long that you're almost, you got like at least 3 or 4, fuck ups in the bank.
So just to like recap, if you didn't hear this, like essentially Saunders goes to the commercial break, okay, in this game against the Sabres where the Flyers inexplicably lose a game that they should have just kicked their ass. They had a great first period. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But Saunders goes to the commercial break, and he's been doing this since 1997. This is old hat. This is probably his like 6,000th game at this point or something. Like, he's been doing this forever. But Timmy settles in, he starts humming a little bit, like la la la, and then he does not realize he's on a hot mic. He is like humming to himself.
Not at all.
And then I assume a producer is fixing something or going downward near him, and he goes, "Hey, while you're down there, would you blow me?" There's just like Todd Fedorak sheepishly says, like a couple seconds later, like, "Tim, I think the mic's on." Oh no!
That's the worst. That's the worst sentence to hear when you're doing any sort of broadcasting at all.
Yeah,
and it's something you never want to hear.
You never want to hear that. Like I heard all about hot mics in broadcast school when I went way back in the day, almost 20 years now. Horrible. I think it is 20 years that I was actually actively going. So I'm horribly old, but regardless, like it's something that they warn you about quite a bit, but it's very easy to just ignore that, especially when you've been doing this since 1997. So Tim Saunders, fantastic. He does a great job. I saw people like, I mean, I didn't see this personally, but I heard there were secondhand accounts of like people in certain areas like kind of freaking out about this, going like, he needs to be fired or suspended or something. And it's like, dude, number one, this is an old school joke right here. Okay. This is not something with like malice. This is not something with hate in his heart. This is just like an old school guy going like, making is it an inappropriate joke? Sure. Is it funny? I laughed. So
it's fucking hilarious. I think it's really funny. I think
it's really fucking funny.
That's right up my sort of alley. And I know that is right up the Fridge's alley too. Like that's the sort of like 90s NHL player. That's what you actually want to hear in terms of 90s, 80s NHL player jokes. That's probably the good end of it. There are probably ones that are not as adaptable to modern times as that one may be. I just think it's a really funny, instance.
It's funny.
Like who's even listening to the radio anymore? Like I love sports on the radio. We were talking about it before. I love sports on the radio, right? Like I think it's got a like certain ambiance to it. And it's nostalgic for me. But like, come on, it's the radio.
Yeah, it's the radio.
2-year-olds listening to the radio broadcast of the Flyers game.
I can see some people syncing up last night's game with the radio because it was the ESPN broadcast.
Oh my God.
You have to deal with John Buchacross, who I always love Bucci's enthusiasm for the game and chicken parm, but that's where it ends. I do not like him. He's a great studio guy. I think he is not a good play-by-play guy, and I know a lot of people are in agreement there. And anytime you're hearing a national broadcast in general, if you can sync up the radio to hear the home broadcast instead, it's preferable. But it's tough. Not a lot of people have radios. The radio feed usually comes in faster, and just syncing is difficult. I've done it, and it drives me nuts to not have in-sync audio as an audio guy.
Yeah.
So it's not. I don't like it, but I do like when I can successfully do it. And I'm sure people are doing it that way, but it's not the same listenership as it used to be. But also it doesn't matter because like really, this is not Tom Brenneman. Okay.
No,
not Tom Brenneman saying a horribly homophobic thing and then Nick Castellanos hitting a long drive deep into left. This is, and sadly the Flyers did not get that Nick Castellanos.
There was no long drive at the end of it. There was no immediate big play that occurred right after, unfortunately, in that entire game, really.
Yeah, there's nothing like that. But like, dude, this is not a big deal. This is not a big deal at all. I think it's hilarious, to be honest. Like, again, that's an old school guy joke. Like, hey, while you're down there, would you blow? Like, he's not sexually harassing anybody. He's just doing an old school guy joke. So, like, let's give Tim Saunders a little bit of leeway here because he is a good guy and he is a very good broadcaster for the Flyers.
Let's take it easy on Tim, okay, man? Like, come on.
Here's the other thing. Timmy Saunders over there worked with Steve Coates, and I don't know how familiar you are with Steve Coates, Jake.
Yes.
Steve Coates, Coatesy, as we like to call him. That guy probably made that joke like every time anybody bent down to tie their shoes. Like Coatesy is as old school ball buster as it gets.
That is actually the best way to put it is ball buster. That's a classic. That's exactly how he would put it. He would just tell you he's busting balls. That was
busting balls. Yeah.
One of my favorite phrases. You got to bring that back. You got to bring that back.
We're bringing it back. We're bringing it back on Flyperbole.
Bring back here. Busting balls in 2026.
I grew up in a family of ball busters. Okay. South Philly Irish. It's all ball busting all the time. Every time we get together. That's all it is. And it's tough to turn it off. Like, we've gotten kinder and gentler in recent years, but there's still times like my sister one time, I think it was Thanksgiving. It was either Thanksgiving or Christmas. And she at one point says the word oats really weird. She goes like oats. And everybody was quiet for a second. And then I couldn't help it. My genes activated. My ball busting genes activated. And I look over and I'm like, are we just going to ignore how she just said oats really weird? Oats. And then we just ball busted for the next like 2 minutes.
Yeah. No, that's just how it is. I don't even know if you'd want a broadcast that doesn't have that.
I miss it. I miss it because
Yeah.
I feel like all the old broadcasts used to have that.
Well,
That's actually
yeah.
one of the great things with I think Bush and JJ. They don't
Oh,
quite have the ball
yeah.
busting, but the they have a great chemistry, and they talk about food a lot, which I love as somebody who talks about food a lot on his podcast. So like I'm into it, but like it's that camaraderie and that like I
Yeah.
always like to say I miss when broadcasters were drunk because like my favorite broadcaster growing up was Harry Callis.
Yeah.
My other favorite one for baseball wise is Bob Uecker, who was the Milwaukee Brewers broadcaster forever. And he is the guy from Major League. He is the announcer for
Yeah.
Cleveland in Major League, who is drunk the entire movie. And that's just how the old school guys were. They were just like, you know, they drank and smoked and they'd hang out in the bars after the games and they'd like to tell stories. And I miss those elements of it where, you know, I feel like a lot of sports broadcasting is very uninteresting nowadays, where a lot of these guys are just uniform. They are just the same.
It's very personable that way, right? It feels like you're getting, you're coming into the booth as like a third observer, right? At that point, you feel like you're watching the game with them, not you're being presented it by, you know, a certain, like they're presenting it to you. That's what I feel like the NFL games are a lot. It feels like they're just kind of telling me what's going on, except for you know, I was want to say it is Al Michaels. Al Michaels is on it most of the time. And that's the one where you feel like that's what no, he feels like it's very talkative. He's just kind of meandering on and things like that. And like even up here, Dan Shulman and Buck Martinez, the Blue Jays announcers. That's my ideal duo is Shulman. I've listened to for years, like on a technical level, one of my favorite broadcasters, like from his NCAA, like he did a lot of March Madness when I was growing up as well. And baseball wise, like his voice, the way that he can present the game is very good. But you also have Buck on the other hand, who sounds like he's obviously not drunk all the time, but you can't understand what the fuck he's saying if you don't listen to him.
It's true.
He can't really speak English in a way that is digestible for a larger audience. So like that's what's great about it. You know, he's got his own mannerisms and it feels more like you're watching the game with somebody. You're watching at a bar, you know, and people are just commenting on it. And that's the heart of it, I think, is what is missing. Like when I watch Scott Hartnell do anything, that's the opposite of what I actually want to see, which is surprising because that's why I thought you would bring him in.
Yes. I thought Scott Hartnell would be the guy, the hangout guy. I thought he would be, because one of our favorite broadcasters down in Philadelphia right now is on select Phillies games. It does not happen that often these days. But John Kruk.
Yeah, he's the best. He's the best.
The Krucker, who is so bizarre and great that he's been featured on Last Week Tonight with John Oliver. Like they take in clips and put it on Last Week Tonight, which is a nationally broadcast HBO show. Like that's wild to think about, that he's saying such bizarre things that he is on an HBO show.
And that's also they have I don't know who the play-by-play guy is in Philly.
Tom McCarthy.
Tom McCarthy. Okay. They play off each other in the same way though, you know, like,
and the thing about Tom McCarthy, is if you pair him with anybody else, he just turns into like, hey, I'm a baseball announcer, but you put him with Krucker brings out that hangout energy.
Yeah. Yeah. It's hard not to have that feeling when you're around somebody like that. Right. And I think that's why, you know, as Bush, even as he gets older, I think I've been saying this too, as Bush gets older, you're going to see more and more just like random tangents about fishing and golfing.
Oh, that's 100% true, because that's what happened with Bill Clement. Clement, who was doing the color analyst job before Brian Boucher, got increasingly bizarre with age. And Gary Dornhofer, you know, like we have some great names in Philly. We're very lucky in the Philadelphia market for having such incredible broadcaster personalities. I mean, we got Scott Fransky and Larry Anderson on Phillies radio. Fantastic. Over on, you know, the Flyers, we've talked about all the personalities pretty much right now. And there's so many great ones, even the great Gene Hart, who I always do a shout out to at the end of the show. And then I'm trying to think of, I feel like I'm missing a couple great names here, but like,
well, all the guys, Eagles. I know the Eagles. I don't know the Eagles.
Merrill Reese and Mike Quick. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I don't. Obviously, I'm not big watching the Eagles the same way I'm watching the Flyers, but I every time I hear a radio call from the Eagles radio, it's always top top
Oh,
tier.
Merrill has such a unique voice.
The like all the Super Bowl montages and stuff. Like you hear his voice, you're like, oh, yeah, that's the Eagles guy. Like even
Merrill Reese.
Watch it. I don't think I've ever listened to an Eagles game on the radio in my life. Never had the opportunity to do it, and like you still know who it is, right? It's that recognizable.
It's that recognizable, but there are 6,000 sponsored segments. Every bit of Eagles radio is insanely sponsored. It's wild. Like the most famous one we've had around here, there's a hoagie shop in the Philadelphia area called Slack's Hoagie Shack. And they always have the Slack's Hoagie Shack hit of the game or something like that. And it's just funny to hear in Merrill's voice, like the Slack's Hoagie Shack hit of the game. Well, Mike, no, Merrill Reese, unbelievable. We've always been very lucky to have these personalities around the game, and I'm excited to see what Bush morphs into, what kind of Pokemon form he's going to take next. But let's give Timmy Saunders a little bit. Like he's been chopping it up with Steve Coates forever. Also, this is pretty innocent, guys. This is not harassment. This is not him being an asshole. This is just him making a little offhand joke when he thought he was off air. So big whoop. Let's move on.
Yeah, let's move on. He didn't even want to. I think it was more just to talk about how that honestly, there's more meat in talking about how that honestly, like approaching that line is almost what you need to do.
Yeah.
I go over it. Obviously, you can't say what you're going to say. Like nobody who has ever done broadcasting wants to have that, what just happened to Tim Saunders happen to them. But you got to kind of, sometimes you got to nudge up there. It doesn't hurt.
Yeah. That's the line right there. That is past the line. He didn't go over it.
That is firmly past the line.
Yeah.
Right. Not way past the line, but it's
a little past the line. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like goal line technology. The ball is fully past the line.
There you go. I like that. All right. Well, we're going to talk about the actual team in a second, but before we get into that, let's talk about our pals over at FanDuel. And we're recording this on a Friday. The Flyers are playing the New York Rangers over in the train station on Saturday afternoon, a 12:30 game, which is, you know what? That's fine by me because I'm covering for PHLY and I don't want to beat the studio till midnight. So I get to wrap up nice and early, have my Saturday night. Very happy about that. And I love every Saturday game should be in the afternoon. Absolutely. But they're playing. It is a good vibe.
It's a good vibe. And then you have, for us especially, hockey night in Canada is at night. The Leafs will play at night and they'll lose. But in the afternoon, it's a nice, for me, it's a good, nice, 12:30 to 3 o'clock, 3:30, watch the Flyers. And then you have that time, maybe take a nap, have dinner, and then you can watch the later games after. I think it's a good, if you have nothing else to do. So I may not have anything else to do.
I mean, same, bud, same. But, I like to have my Saturday night to watch a movie or something like that. So I having a nice day game is great, and having a nice rivalry game against the Rangers. And hey, there's probably going to be a lot of orange and black supporters that go up there because it's a quick train ride. All right. You just take the Amtrak up, you go watch the game. You can be home by dinner time. That's pretty fantastic. So Flyers playing the Rangers. And the Rangers have been abysmal at home this year. Unbelievably bad playing in their home train station. 4-10-3 at home. Odds on FanDuel for the Flyers to win this game, +12 or +112 money line. Okay, so +112 money line, pretty good. I like plus odds anytime you can get them, and I like the Flyers to win this game. Dan Vladar is going to be back in. They're going to be pissed about losing to the Buffalo Sabres. I like this a lot for the Flyers. That is what I am going with. So go over to FanDuel, Flyers money line +112 over the New York Rangers.
Yeah, not a bad one. I also want to just point out quickly, now that I'm here, now that we're on the subject.
Yeah, you actually know stuff about betting. Ryan Quigley, as much as I love my dear friend Ryan, he does not know anything about betting.
Well, so I can dabble. Trevor Zegras plus 2+ goals to score 2+ goals. Ooh. Plus 2,200. Not bad. Yeah? Not bad. I mean, it's he has been on fire. Maybe you can look at the points props instead, because he has been getting a lot more assists. But yeah, 2 goals. That's. It seems like if the Flyers are going to play well, he's going to score, and then at that point, all he needs is an empty netter. I don't know.
Yeah, I like it a lot. Well, Trevor Zegras leads the team in goals, so I mean, if anybody's going to do it, it's him. He's got 14.
It's him.
Yeah. And you know what? Let's talk about Ziggy, and let's talk about his partner in crime this year, Christian Dvorak, because this is starting to get interesting. Where the conversation with free agency and everything, because we're now over a quarter, we're almost halfway through the season at this point, which is wild to think about. It flies by. It takes forever, but it also flies by. But we're 33 games in now, and I would say the Trevor Zegras experiment is a stunning success for this team. That's a trade you make 10 times out of 10 regardless, but knowing the results we've gotten, where he's having the best season of his career, he's over a point per game for the first time, 34 points in 33 games played, 14 goals, 20 assists. He is an offensive dynamo. The team just feels more dangerous with him out there. And a large part of that has been having Christian Dvorak with him, where Christian Dvorak can, I always call this the dad role, where he can come in and he can do the little things that, like, the responsible things that nobody really wants to do, but he does them well. He plays defense. He can clog up the middle, and he's gotten a lot of offensive opportunities. I've been really impressed by Christian Dvorak's offense. And look, you can have a defensively responsible guy play with talented wingers. Look at Sean Couturier and not do anything points wise. So, and I hate to call out my boy Couturier, but Couturier, despite being fifth on this team in points, it just has not looked that good lately. And he's in one of his lulls right now that old Couturier gets into, which sucks. But Dvorak is doing, maybe not to the degree that old Couturier used to, but he's doing a lot of it. And he's been really impressive. He's now up to 23 points in 33 games, 7 goals, 16 assists. He had 4 shots in the Sabres game, very active. But the big thing is, he's just been wildly successful with Trevor Zegras, and a large part of Trevor Zegras' success this season.
Yeah, and just to go back to the Zegras thing briefly, like, that is about as good of an outcome as you could have hoped when you tried to acquire Trevor Zegras, right? This is what you wanted him to always morph into. This is what the Ducks were looking for him to morph into, and this is what he looked like he was going to become in those first early years with Anaheim, right? And he's just taken flight this year, no pun intended. Now, he looks like a different player. He looks like a difference maker. He looks like the best player on the team, and it doesn't really look particularly close. I mean, you can compare apples to oranges with Sanheim and things like that, but I think Trevor Zegras has been the material difference outside of Dan Vladar for other reasons, obviously. And a lot of that, what was that?
I just said I couldn't agree more. 100%.
Yeah, 100%. And a lot of that, does come down to Dvorak. Like, I don't think when you watch the games that it's necessarily one of those situations where you can look at Dvorak's production and his 23 points in 33 games, which is, put him on pace for a career high. I don't think you can look at that and say that's just all Trevor Zegras. I think Dvorak has looked great alongside Zegras. I think he, as you said, he's doing a lot of those, more workman-like tasks out there, retrieving the pucks and playing that D zone, the lowest forward in the D zone that allows, Zegras to kind of jump the zone sometimes, get free along the blue line and try to beat a defender, right? And get into better offensive positions to create offense, because he knows Dvorak's behind him and he trusts his defense. And those guys all seem to work well in tandem with one another. And yeah, I mean, I've brought it up in the Slack with everyone from BSH a couple different times. Like, if Dvorak's going to play like this, I mean, even if he played like how he did with the Canadians, right, where he has 33 points in 82 games, but he's really well liked in the room and he plays a good defensive style of hockey, you could keep that guy around to play in your third, fourth line in the future, right? Providing that his cap hit's not that insane. But if he's going to play like this at 29 years old, he's not like a 34-year-old vet who's catching lightning in a bottle, like kind of like Hathaway did last year, where he scored, 10 odd goals or whatever, and then goes back to falling off a cliff and just being a fourth line plug. Dvorak here, he's got, even if he doesn't keep up this rate of production, he's got useful traits. And in a situation for a team that doesn't have a ton of centers even coming up through the pipeline, it's not the worst thing to discuss keeping him around. I think it makes sense. He's proven that he can play alongside the players that you already have and you want to have in the future.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I know it's frustrating to hear about signing a 30-year-old vet because he's going to be 30 in February. Signing a 30-year-old vet to like a 3-year deal or something like that. And I think 3 is the max I would do.
Yeah.
But I would very much consider bringing Christian Dvorak back, especially if you're going to commit long-term to Trevor Zegras, because we all want Trevor Zegras to be a center and work out there because of his talent. I don't know if he's there right now. And I think he's shown that he's not quite there. And if Christian Dvorak can give you a couple years of working that out. Also, if Christian Dvorak can like maybe move down as guys move up, like let's say Jet Luchenko comes in and is ready and can step up into the top 6 or whatever, which that seems like a long ways away from there, but we have high hopes. If Nesbitt's ready at some point, Dvorak is, you could have way worse guys like Rodrigo Apples down on like the 4th line. And I hate to fire shots at Rodrigo, but Rodrigo is an incredibly
he's a
player.
quad A AHL-ish player. You know, that's just what he is.
And Dvorak right now is on a pace to shatter his single season high in points. He is on a 57 point pace right now. His previous high is 38, and that was in 2019-20. So like, this is another level up. And again, he's played really well in all situations with this team. He's not a liability. And if he's 33 at the end of, if you give him an extension, that's fine. I don't think this hinders the team at all. And we've had a lot of discussion in the Slack, like in the Broad Street Hockey Slack. This has been like, we had pages and pages of like discussion over this the other day.
Yeah, we got into it. I'm not scared of a guy like Dvorak getting re-signed just because it seems like to me, I don't know how many guys that you can bring up to the NHL as fringe guys like the Devin Kaplans, the Carson Duarts of the world who can get to a level that Christian Dvorak is at. Like Christian Dvorak coming out of junior was a stud hockey player. Like he was supposed to be much, much better, much, much different than what he was, right, as a second rounder. With the Coyotes, they had really, when he was with Tocchet the first time, right, he was more of the scoring option. And I think Tocchet knows, or he can kind of deduce, like by watching Dvorak and having coached him in the past, that there is a little something here. Like there's a reason that the Flyers went out and got him. They didn't need to get him. I mean, they needed to get a center. They didn't need to get Christian Dvorak, who is a guy who could overpay for Christian Dvorak on a 1-year deal to get him in instead of him going to a cup contender, right? Because the team in a good spot would have liked to have Christian Dvorak, because even if he doesn't randomly have this jump in points that he's had at his age 29 season playing alongside Trevor Zegras, he's a good face-off guy. He plays a good defensive style, and he can handle the puck a little bit, right? He's very responsible.
And look over like a team.
It's hard to find those guys, to play down the lineup that are actually good hockey players, but know that they have a role to play. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely know what you're saying. I'm in agreement with you there. And look over at like a team like the Boston Bruins, who, by the way, have the same amount of points as the Flyers right now and are having a nice resurgent year after a down year. And the Bruins are a team that could definitely use a guy like Christian Dvorak. And, you could argue that the Bruins with a true superstar in David Pastrnak are probably better positioned to bounce back and be a cup contender sooner than the Flyers. And right now the Bruins are rocking Elias Lindholm at center, Pavel Zacha, Fraser Minton, and Sean Corrali. Like, you're telling me they couldn't use Christian Dvorak in that mix and he'd make a positive difference? They'd probably be even better if they had gotten Christian Dvorak. And there's plenty of other teams with that example, but the Flyers, given their just lack of center depth, again, Rodrigo Apples is their consensus 4th line center. And the guy has contributed to this point. Let's see, 1 goal, I believe. 1 goal, 1 assist in 28 games played. And that is actually the high mark for the 4th line, because Nick Delorier's got 0 and Garnett Hathaway has 0 in 33 games. So yeah, it's a black hole. That 4th line is a complete black hole. Carl Grundstrom was so good that he was on it for like 2 games and they were like, all right, bud, I guess you're on like the 3rd line now all of a sudden.
I guess you're playing power play now.
Yeah, right. Carl Grundstrom.
You played well on the 4th line. we're not used to guys doing that, and you're playing with two people who are basically useless. So now you can basically play net front on the power play.
No, but they bring the hits, bud. They bring those hits every night. Come on.
They bring the hits 6 seconds after the puck's gone because they're playing behind the play by an hour and a half.
It's awesome. Delorier last night when he had the 2-on-1 and he kind of just like
so that's a funny broadcaster a thing too to comment on, because Delorier picks up the puck in the neutral zone, gets in across the blue line, and I'm trying to figure out who it is on the other side with Delorier. I probably should have known, but so he picks it up, and Bucci, I think, said, both of them looking for their first point of the year. And then Delorier loses the puck and it goes in the corner. And then he doesn't even go hit the guy who picks the puck up in the corner. He just stops and they dump it around the other wall. And I'm like, okay, whatever.
Real controller unplugged moment right there.
I don't think it's controller. He's using a controller with the wire, but it's on a new console.
No, you know what he's using.
They don't even you can't accept those anymore. He's got like an old USB port. He's using
the Mad Catz knockoff controller. He's using the Mad Catz.
He's got the Mad Catz. The buttons don't work.
Yeah,
the triggers are stuck.
They're stuck. It's garbage. But he's
the rubber on the joysticks are all like chewed off. Somebody was biting it.
Fantastic. Garnet Hathaway, by the way, overwhelming hits leader on the Flyers with 117. Next closest to Owen Tippett with 60, who is actually doing stuff out there.
Wow. Owen Tippett just like that. I'm surprised he's that far ahead, Hathaway.
I know.
And I'm also surprised Owen Tippett is second. I thought Sealer would maybe.
Sealer had 60 as well. So Sealer and Tippett are tied.
All right. Okay.
I'm surprised Tippett has that many, though. I don't see him throwing his body around
He'll run, like he picks once a week and he'll go run around and hit somebody. And you're like, wow, he looked like he was shot out of he actually looks like, when they have the sling on aircraft carriers, he looks like he was on that and he just flies at somebody and runs them into the bench and then he never does it again. And it's like, oh my God.
Cool. That's what it feels like with Owen Tippett in general. That's the entire Owen Tippett experience.
He's got that in the bag. I wish he did it.
Right. But like it feels like he picks like one game a week where he's like, all right, today I'm going to be my best me. I'm going to go out and I'm going to speed around and take some shots. And then every other day it's like, where was Owen Tippett last night? Owen Tippett was leading the team overwhelmingly in shots for a while. He is now third. Zegras 78, Konechny 74, Tippett 71. And then Mish is creeping up in there with 63. But I feel like I've talked Mish to death. I don't need to talk about this anymore. Yeah. Like I'm good right now.
A lot of Mish, yeah.
Yeah, I've talked so much Mish. I'm good to go right now.
It'll be sophomore slump. That is what it is.
Sophomore slump. I've accepted it for what it is.
It is. I think
next year, let's go. But this year,
hopefully you get him to 50 points.
I'd be very happy with 50 points.
And then you just kind of hope that you work out in the summer a little bit, maybe.
I'm hoping that entire Olympic break he is just like.
Yeah, I think Mishkov for now, you can kind of put the topic on ice until after the Olympic break, and then you want to see after the Olympic break that he is noticeably better, or else then we can have the conversations again. And you're like, okay, why?
Well, especially if the Flyers are in the playoff race coming out of the Olympic break, because that's where you want him to be his best. I actually don't even care right now because Trevor Zegras has been so good. Like I care, but like. I want him down the stretch when so many of these guys under John Tortorella would just completely die because John Tortorella had just been kicking their ass for the entire season. I want him to be his best at that point. So yeah, Dvorak's going to be a really interesting question because he's an unrestricted free agent after the season and Zegras is a restricted free agent. So those are big deal contracts right there. And Zegras, especially playing the wing and given that Porter Martone might be up next year, like, these are big questions about who they keep, who goes, what do they do with this? I don't know, but like, if you ask me today to just give like a gut reaction, I say sign them both, sign Dvorak to 3 years max and sign Zegras for, I mean, that's it. Honestly, if you are Danny Briere, and you have to decide how long to sign Trevor Zegras. Are you going for a max contract right now as far as the length goes?
It'd be 8 years.
I think so.
Right.
I'm not sure of the current CBA.
I think it's 8
or 7, but yeah.
It's 7 or 8. Yeah. I mean, that would take him to what? He'd be like 32.
Let's see.
I
Trevor
think he'd be 32,
Zegras
maybe
is
33. He's
currently
20. He's my age, isn't he? No, he's
Trevor
younger.
Zegras is 24. He
Okay,
was
so he's
born on March
24. Okay,
20th,
okay.
01. Yeah.
I'm getting confused with somebody else. Then.
Yeah. So if he
Because is
signs,
definitely, yeah.
so yeah, he'll be in his
I'm-
early 30s if they sign him to like an 8-year contract.
He's not my age. He's my sister's age. That's what
There
I
you
was
go.
trying to get.
Yeah.
Anyways,
He's
yeah.
definitely not my age.
Yeah.
Not even Garnet Hathaway is my age.
Hey, well, you're not.
I'm
not
closer to
Fondy's
Philip
age
Rivers
either.
than I am to any of these guys.
Philip Rivers was balling though. Hey, listen, you can still throw a slant across the middle, Steve. I believe in you.
Unbelievable that he was coming out looking like me and throwing slants. Fantastic. He was still in better shape than me, which is the sad part.
Well, I mean, I would kind of hope that Philip Rivers didn't get out of shape that quickly. That work
it's been a couple
undone.
years. Been a while.
I guess, but
yeah.
Well, you got to have a little bit of that farmer strength to him. He'll never lose that. Regardless,
yeah, that's true.
Back to Trevor.
That's
7 so 7 years take it to 31. So that's you can max him out if you think this is what he is. If you think you want to take that risk, you max him out and you go.
Because you also have the debate.
It's the money.
Over,
it's going to be the money.
The money's a big thing, but also you have the debate over the center position, right? And like if he's not playing center, I'm kind of the opinion that I don't care that much as long as if he's a point per game player, I don't give a shit.
No,
because I think sometimes we take point per game players for granted. Like
100%. How often do the Flyers really have a point per game player? Coots did it a little bit. I think he had 1 or 2 years where he was very close.
TK was on that pace last year.
TK was there,
but then he didn't. But then he fell off.
After that, you're looking at Giroux, Voracek at some points.
Voracek and Giroux had a couple great years like that.
Yes, fantastic years, and a lot of that was from them benefiting from one another. But after that, you're going back to when?
I mean, after that,
Mike Richards, did he ever hit?
Well, Jeff Carter was very good.
Carter had a bunch of goals. He was,
Danny Briere had some good years too. I don't know if he hit
but
that.
That's a long time ago, Steve.
Yeah,
Danny Briere. I was like 11 when he was playing for the Flyers.
Couturier never quite hit that point per game mark. Couturier hit 76 and 80 was the best he got. So that was pretty good. I know Voracek and Giroux both surpassed it a couple times.
Yes.
Let's see. And before
it's more like the
most recent guy is
of it. Yeah,
it's true.
The scarcity of it was like, that's not easy to find guys who do that. So if you got Zegras there and he likes being here, and it looks like to me, like I saw Zegras when I was working like the overnights when I was doing the NHL, the stats stuff, and I do a lot of West Coast games. So I got to see Zegras a lot, and I was friends with a Ducks fan. So he was big in his favorite player was Trevor Zegras. So he'd always be watching Trevor Zegras. He looks better with the Flyers than he ever looked as a Duck, at least for the last 2 to 3 years.
I mean, he looks like a
different. He looks like a man. He looks like a hockey player. He looks like he's grown up. He looks like an NHLer. Like he looks like everything that I thought he could be if he took another step would look like this. I don't even know if he's done. I don't know if he could go to 100 points if you played him on the wing with a center and another winger. If you play him on a great line, the sky's the limit for that type of guy. He's got the skill. He's got the vision. It's all there. And Jeff Carter had 84 and 82 and his 46 goal. So even like I remember that season where he had the 46 goal season in 08, but like even then, just barely got to point per game still.
And it's not like Wayne Simmons was doing that as much as we love Wayne Simmons. He's
Hartnell and Simmer, like those guys weren't doing that. They were 60, right? Like 80 points is that's something like not to be trifled with, especially when you're scoring. Like he's scoring goals. He could just be farming assists. Like those Voracek years, some of them, he'd have, 18, 19 goals and, 60 primary assists or 60 secondary assists. Same with Giroux. But they were passing the guys who were, they earned those assists. They were not passing the hockey players who were getting them for free. So I'll give him that.
But as you were saying, like he looks like a grown-ass man out there. And I find his presence very commanding. Like when they were trying to come back last night, like they took a lot of the third period off, which sucked. But when they did come back, when Travis Konecny scored that goal, Trevor Zegras is a part of it. Trevor Zegras is out there with his vision. When they have that late power play, Trevor Zegras is the guy who almost, he gets him his opportunities. And he's just, you can see him commanding that puck, commanding respect from the defense. And he's chippy in a way I didn't expect him to be. He gets in guys' faces. This is a friggin' flyer right here. And this is a high skill guy that I want to be a part of this organization for a long time. So I say sign him right now and hope that this is the guy, because if this is the guy, I love this guy. And if you have a top 6 in the future that includes Trevor Zegras, Porter Martone, Matvei Michkov, and Tyson Forrester, I think you're cooking with something.
You got something there. You need the centers. Like, you'll always need the centers. I actually am pretty positive on the future of the defense. I think they got a pretty good core now. I think you see Drysdale going through a similar process to Zegras in the way of, like, you look at him, you're like, okay, I'm not worried about, I think we might have talked about this last time I was on with you too, Steve. You're not worried about some guy bearing down on Drysdale on the forecheck anymore, the same way you were, like, when he first got here. I know me personally, maybe I'm just speaking for myself. You look at Drysdale and you're like, oh God, there's pressure on him. I don't know if he's going to be able to handle that. I don't know if he's going to get swallowed up on the forecheck and things like that, right? If he can adapt to the pace of play. He started to do that. So for me, it just comes down to the money and the years, because I want Zegras on the team for as long as I can have him, if this is what it's going to be. If he can even be like a 70-point guy, I think it's worth having him as a winger. Right?
A 70-point guy is great. Again,
you just stick him on the first, second line, left wing. If that's what it ends up being, I have no problem with that. And it's not like him, being a center is completely dead in the ground either. But I don't think it hinges on whether or not he's a center. That shouldn't be the main reason to sign him or not to sign him, because I feel like he has so many traits that are so impressive and that we've been lacking. Like, the Flyers as an organization have been lacking since, the Giroux Voracek days, where you have a guy who, like, can stop up, take a look cross ice, make a saucer pass, and it's basically a tap in, right?
Yeah.
That's a skill you can't quantify, really.
I agree with that. And I mean, if you heard the intermission report last night, like, John Tortorella was talking about Zegras a little bit, and just talking about, like, how I think he would know better than anybody at this point how the Flyers need high-end skill guys like that. And they've needed that for, basically since Claude Giroux. So getting him in there has been fantastic. And I think, Matvei Michkov is a high-end skill guy, even if he's not showing it this year. And I think between those two, Martone, and then what Forrester brings defensively, and with the goal scoring, if you can find centers to play with these guys, and this isn't even including the guys that we don't know about yet, like Bobby Brink, who is a useful, probably a third line player. We've got, I'm trying to think of some of the other names. Like, we don't know what Bump is going to be yet, some of these other guys they just drafted. And if you can find centers to play with these guys, that's going to be, really huge. But I think Trevor Zegras is a guy that I want around for a long time right now, but the money's a big deal.
Yeah, it's gonna, like, if you get up to, like, where you're paying Zegras, upwards of 10.
10's tough.
10's tough. Like, I get why that would be difficult for them to commit to. Like, the cap's gonna go up. You're gonna get some more flexibility.
But you're gonna have to sign Michkov. You're gonna have to sign
Michkov. Yeah, you're gonna have to sign all these guys, right? Drysdale will have to get signed eventually, I assume.
I'm making big time assumptions with Martone already, and I feel good about it.
You could tell me you think Porter Martone is going to be the best winger in hockey, and I would agree with you. Like, I think he has the potential to be something that you don't get very often. He has potential to be like wing Lindros. Like, just like, I don't even, if there was ever a guy, he's not as dominant as Lindros was. Obviously, I did not watch Eric Lindros play hockey in Oshawa back in the day.
Yeah.
But, like, even in the junior ranks, like, I think if Martone was back there, he would be basically, he might get bored. That'd be the only reason he doesn't have as many points. Like, he'd be the destroyer of worlds in junior hockey right now. And in college hockey, he looks amazing. He looks fantastic. He still looks just as big. He jumped into the physicality difference, like the amount of bigger guys you're playing with, the speed difference. I wanted to see how he adapted to that. And yeah, he's done definitely a lot better than a guy like that Gavin McKenna has, who struggled a little bit to really work into it. And again, McKenna's younger. It's not necessarily surprising. And Martone is a goddamn horse, right? Yeah. Like, he's a stallion. He's built for that. So
And that's
But yeah,
skating, man.
if
That's
he
skating
keep,
on Martone.
oh, it's beautiful, and it's
beautiful.
playmaking. Like it's just like if he could put it all together, he would be. It does. I don't even care who's his center. I don't even care. How do you stop that guy?
I have no idea how you stop that guy. And you can get a Christian Dvorak to play next to that guy, and he's still going to do well because and that's what you're seeing with Trevor Zegras. Like, and again, that's not to insult Christian Dvorak. I think Christian Dvorak's great, but like, it's all about Trevor Zegras at the end of the day. Like, I only like signing Christian Dvorak because Trevor Zegras plays well with him.
Yes.
This is what it's all centered around. It's around having a true stud in there. And I think if Trevor Zegras is how he's played so far this season, that guy is a stud.
Yeah. And that's also the plus to signing Dvorak. The biggest thing that he's done to curry favor is just like playing well with Zegras, like proving that he can play well alongside really good players on the wings. That's going to be important because even if you get a better center, if you got a guy like Morgan Frost, like just to pull a random name from Flyers past, like a guy like
good
Morgan
name
Frost,
to pull. Good
comparison. If he can't play and make these guys better around him, but he can still, maybe manufacture 45 to 50 points, but he's not necessarily, he doesn't have that sort of play with the guys around him. That's why he doesn't end up, getting a second contract or getting more time with the Flyers than he did, along with, you can see Dvorak in the future maybe sliding down the lineup and it not being the worst thing in the world to have, a $4 million guy on the third line, like maybe on the wing, right, who plays the sort of Scott Laughton role in the future when the cap's up a bit more. And, it might sound bad now, but I think in the future it's a lot less of a risk, especially if you're able to find a spot for him besides maybe playing alongside Zegras, because I don't think we want Dvorak playing with Zegras, for the rest of the time necessarily. But
no,
if you can find him different roles, which I think you can very easily, it makes sense to keep him around at least for now. And I don't think it would be something that pulls at you like, a McDonald contract did, or like the more, egregious moves that some of the Flyers GMs in the past have made.
Yeah. Well, there was a friggin' hilarious report. Like somebody put it in the Slack, and I don't even know how this account still exists, but the Hockey Insider, which is to date this was like an account that Craig and I were making jokes about like a decade ago. It feels like on this same program where, it's a clearly like bullshitty, like rumor account out there on Twitter or whatever the corpse of Twitter is at these days. And it's just like so full of shit. It's the same thing as like Eklund, who's a super nice guy who I've talked to before, but I don't take anything he says with more than a grain of salt because, it's rarely true. And the account came out and said that the Flyers are in on Steven Stamkos. And it's like,
yeah,
why would
Scammer
the Flyers,
time.
Why would the Flyers want to pass their prime center who, like, it doesn't make any sense for this team?
He might not even be a center anymore either.
Yeah.
Realistically, I don't think you'd want Stamkos to carry the load at this point. I don't even know if he can.
I don't think
but no, can. I think of those accounts now as like Eklund. I mean, that's a legendary name at this point, in the Twitter streets. Like, I'm surprised he's still out there too, honestly.
I interviewed him one time.
Yeah.
Yeah, at a charity event.
I didn't even think Eklund was a real person.
I didn't either.
I thought it was like a group of people.
Yeah,
that were like under a pseudonym of like just a vaguely Swedish guy who played for the Flyers in like the 90s. I thought that was kind of the whole vibe. But
I should dig that up.
Person.
I should dig that interview up. I used to, when it was the Flyers Faithful podcast, we would throw a charity ice hockey game every now and then. And this was a great one because we had the actor David Boreanaz from Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Angel Bones. He played in the tournament.
Wow.
And Eklund was there, and I interviewed Eklund, and it was like, I thought he was one of the nicest guys I've ever talked to, but it was also like, I don't believe a word you're saying.
No,
but like, you're super nice about it, so I appreciate that.
To me, it's like those accounts are like, this reactionary hockey media cosplayer still makes his trade rumors the old-fashioned way. Like, it's the guy with the Coke and like they got the whipped cream and he's stirring it up. That's a classic. That's basically how I feel about it. Like, they're still doing this. They're not doing it under fake pseudonyms. They're not like trying to spell Elliot Friedman's name with a 1 instead of an I to get people
God.
to believe them. They're doing it like, no, I'm me. The
respect
Flyers are acquiring Adam Henrique tomorrow. Like, what?
Slam it, Sammy.
Sure. All right. Whatever. Who are you? Why are you still here?
I
We don't
get
do
it.
this anymore, guys.
And also, like,
it's not fun anymore. The blue check doesn't mean anything.
and the Twitter rumor mill isn't what it used to be. Like, you used to be able to
no.
put this shit on Twitter and it would become wide.
Yeah, and then you get responded to by like the equipment trainer for the Manchester Monarchs, and he'd be like, "Yeah, he's packing his bags. I saw him right now. He's locked there. I just cleaned it out." Now there's nobody on there. You just get a bunch of bots responding to you about like mobile games. Like, I don't.
Yeah,
there's no like rumor mill even anymore. It's just people throwing stuff out there. I don't even know who's reading it.
I have no idea who's reading it, but it's,
yeah,
it's hilarious.
Steven Stamkos is a Flyer.
Yeah. Because that's what they need. That's what's going to.
That's what they need. That's what they need. You need another bad contract. Screw Christian Dvorak. We're getting Stamkos.
We're bringing Stamkos in for the corpse of Stamkos is going to play. His just bones are going to play out there. It'll be perfect. It's just so like what a Paul Holmgren ass move to put out there. Doesn't make.
I don't even think that's a move anyone would make anymore.
Paul Holmgren.
I just can't even
imagine.
Yeah, but no. I listen. I remember that. One of my favorite players before he came to the Flyers. I just hated him.
Unbelievable player.
I hated him.
Destroyed the Flyers every time.
Absolutely garbage.
Yeah.
But like, I don't think that the Paul Holmgren guys are still around anymore to make that deal. There's just so few of them.
That guy ain't Danny Briere is the thing.
No. And I don't think even around the league, like,
yeah,
who's making that move really? Like, if
Patrick
Waugh is not a GM, he can't do that.
Chuck Fletcher is not in a position of power right now.
No. And like that the Stamkos move takes like a certain type of balls that, like, I don't know. It's like it's a very like early 2010s Brooklyn Nets type of move that I think was lost. I think it was kind of lost to time. I don't think that exists in hockey anymore. Like,
why would take on
people are too cap it? There's just too many cooks in the kitchen who would just say, like, why the hell do we want Steven Stamkos now? What does that even do? I feel like there's just too many people in front offices now that would be like, what are we talking about? Like, they get
$8 million a year cap hit for Steven Stamkos right now.
How many more years do you have? Like 2?
2 more.
2?
2 more after this.
Oh my God. Yeah. Why would you ever do that?
Yeah.
You got to sign Zegras. You bring in Stamkos.
I would rather.
Oh my God.
I would rather just let Zegras figure out center than Stamkos easily. Like, if
I think I'd rather just let Zegras walk than get Steven Stamkos.
Oh yeah, no, God, Steven Stamkos for $8 million, like, it's insane. No, thank you.
He had 4 goals recently, though.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
Predators
sign him up.
Turning it around. Predators finally not last in the league.
Maybe. Cap's going up. We can take an $8 million cap hit for a guy who's 35.
Oh man,
ugh. It's brutal. It's brutal. I'm glad I'm not a Smashville fan right now, but that
and the Brady Shea, like, they just did a bunch of stuff that I don't understand. Why was really Barry? Why did they let him be a GM?
That's like one of those.
That would be a good idea.
Like, yeah, this coach is going to be. It's like when they were talking about John Tortorella. It's like when they were talking about John Tortorella joining the front office. I'm like, I'm good.
We can't do that, right?
No,
we can't do that.
That's past because I think he burned some bridges.
Oh, I know now. It's just like if I was if we were Smashville supporters, you got to be. It's one of those things that, like, you got to be. No, we can't. Please no. Please. Like,
no.
I understand Barry Trotz was good with Nashville and he worked with David Poile for a really long time. He was the coach.
Yeah.
Crucially, he was the coach of the team, not the general manager.
We all know
very different.
You got to go to a pretty good business school and be the GM for a minor league team before you become the GM. I always love that people were giving shit to the Flyers for Danny Briere, and it's like, they sent him to business school and had him do experience as a minor league GM.
That was kind of the thing, yeah.
It was actually a very smart move. Like,
it is very like nepotism based again, in terms of like how the franchise works and like their way of graduating players into player development or the front office in general. But like they did do something. They didn't just say, "Oh, you just got bought out by the Habs. Please come be our general manager a year later." Like there was a process. That's why I also thought Robert Esch was going to be in there too. I thought it was going to be Robert Esch for a minute there because he was working on everything. He was running a soccer team. He was running the ECHL, an ECHL squad for a bit, and like, he was doing a lot of business ventures. So I thought he was going to come back around too, but evidently it was Danny. But like they're doing it, like they're planning on it.
Yeah. Well,
didn't come out of nowhere.
Just like, all right, Barry.
Well, yeah, Barry just retired basically, and said, "Go nuts."
You've been with the Islanders for a bunch of years.
But like again, that's not the reigning endorsement to create the Islanders team before they drafted Schaefer and now look like they're on the right path. Like,
yeah, exactly.
You got Anders Lee. I mean, what, bro? Come on. Congrats, I guess. I don't know.
Cool. Good.
That's
good
awesome.
Stuff, I guess. Yeah.
Awesome.
Great. All right, just a couple minutes left before we go. Rasmus Ristolainen has recovered miraculously and is back in the lineup. Actually been laying some guys out. What have you thought about Risto so far through a few games?
He's looked a lot more. Yeah, he's looked a lot more physical than he did when he left. I don't know what that is. Maybe just trying to get back into the swing of things. Maybe he just wants to, fill a role. Maybe he sees how the team's shaping up and, a bunch of guys coming in and playing. Ty Murchison's playing, and
I mean, Jolson, I'm not a big Jolson fan, but Jolson was laying guys out and has a big shot.
And he has a relationship with the coach, right? So
yeah,
I don't think Risto was ever in danger of coming out of the lineup, especially when he first came back. And they're probably going to give him a runway here to really get fully ramped up and play at full speed. But yeah, I think he looks really good. And maybe he's feeling like, hey, I gotta prove why I have to be in this lineup. Prove why I am coming back and why teams wanted me at the trade deadline and stuff. And there's actual interest in how my game is developing now. And I'm not a complete, I've washed all the Buffalo off of me relatively. And now we can actually start to move forward with his career. So it seems like he's got a motivation to really, prove why he's being inserted right back into the lineup right away after a long layoff, and he's looked really good. I think they said it on the broadcast last night, actually, and it is a pretty good point. One of the few that they made is that, the Flyers are a little small back there outside of Sealer, and when Julesen's in, Sanheim is big, but he doesn't necessarily play like the hugest guy on the ice. We all kind of know that. He's going to go be flying around skating wise, and besides him, it's York and Drysdale and Andre, and they're not exactly huge. So having Risto back, throwing the weight around, making it a little more uncomfortable to go into the corners, it helps. It helps that whole unit, I think.
Yeah, I agree. And then the physicality has been great, but also just having a guy who's more mobile than Jolson, because Jolson
long stick. You can notice how long his stick is too when he's out there. Yeah. Like he really does take up a lot of area, like trying to sweep poke checks across through the neutral zone. I really like that part. If he can really just shut plays down like that, that's really where he started to turn his game around. When Shaw was there. Yeah.
Back in the 90s, they would always talk about Shel Samuelson with that, and they'd be like, he's got that long reach. Shel Samuelson over there. I like the long stick, and that's hilarious that we were talking about big things like that at the beginning and end of the show.
Yeah, but it's the borders on the outside. It's like holding up a bookshelf.
Yeah, exactly.
Bookends. That's what it is. It's bookends. There we go. We bookended. I got there. I got there at the end.
I love it. But yeah, I think Risto's looked a lot better this time. And I love the physicality. I've always wanted to see this physicality out of him. Yeah. It's very satisfying as a fan. This is an old school hockey fan, somebody who's been watching since the 90s, like watching him just beat guys' brains in, but also just the fact that he does have more speed than a Juleson. He has a good shot, sometimes. And just what he's learned, like what he learned under Tortorella and Brad Shaw, this is a different player than he was 4 years ago. It's night and day.
He's a lot more confident. He did have a couple complete flubs in his first game back from the point, and they were just kind of like, okay, maybe he's got to get back into the swing of snapping a wrist shot after blowing his tricep out. So I can kind of understand that. He looks a lot better. He looks more poised, and I think you want a guy. Like, it's always nice to have a guy on the back end, regardless of where the game goes and regardless of how, things change. It's always nice to have a guy who makes going into the opposing zone, makes coming into your zone hurt. Like, you want it to be a painful experience to be in the Flyers defensive zone, right? Like, so that's what's good about Risto. If he can keep that up and he can keep just trying to impose himself on the other team, that's another, sort of wrinkle you can throw in that I don't think the Flyers necessarily had. Because even when I see Sealer sometimes, it doesn't look as big as, like, maybe he kind of plays. He's obviously very solid, but you see him score up to some of these forwards and you're like, yeah, he's actually not that big.
No.
And he tries to play big, and I always appreciate that about Sealer, and that's why he stays in the lineup. And he's got massive heart. We've seen that a billion times as he takes shot after shot off the ankles. But
he tries so hard.
He tries hard. So you can't, he plays with the heart of a bigger man.
Yeah,
for sure.
He does.
So I'll give him that. But he's
day.
not like physically imposing to most guys out there, especially not anymore. So
no, absolutely.
It's good to have a guy who does that and is more visibly like terrifying.
Yeah, exactly. He is visibly terrifying. That's for sure. All right, awesome. Well, Jacob, I know you got some stuff to do. So I have another friggin' podcast to do this afternoon. So let's head on out of here. Thank you guys so much for listening. Jacob, I know you've been doing a lot of work with the Broad Street Hockey, like Insta and stuff lately. So you want to plug that real quick?
Yeah, me and Ryan Gilbert, who sometimes on with Steven and I as well. And we've been on the IG and we've been doing a bunch of little posts and stuff and videos and even some article explainers of stuff we got on the BSH site, but mostly it's just a bunch of shit posts after the games. So yeah, if you want to come hang out in the comment section, me and Gilbs are always there. I don't know if anyone can tell when it's me posting or when it's Gilbs posting, but it's largely the same. So it's been fun to start that back up again. Obviously, it's harder to find like more of a community on Twitter now, like the way we used to have it back when I first met BSH and Flyperbole and all of you guys as a reader originally. So trying to get something like that back up on the Instagram, just some fun stuff. And yeah, go check it out. Got some cool stuff there. You can find me on Twitter at Russell_28_. I'm not on there very often. Maybe try to get on there. It's hard because you post articles and then they shoot your account with a laser beam and it disintegrates. So it's not really useful to me. The use case for Twitter has kind of disappeared for me, but yeah, I'm on there. And if you can find my blue sky, I'm there too. I don't know what my goddamn URL is.
I'll tag you in the post for this.
It's okay. It's okay.
Well, I tag everybody anyway. So
I think everyone from Philadelphia who's interested in me may have found it already.
Well, maybe
the Philadelphia community is for some reason. This is your
first time on Flyperbole, so maybe
that's true.
Maybe you got some new ones.
The Philadelphia community is for some reason very well represented. The Philadelphia sports community.
It's mostly Philadelphia.
Blue Sky. It's mostly Philadelphia sports. That's like all Blue Sky is, which I'm glad that you just decided to silo off, a sizable piece of the website. That was a good plan from all of you guys. I'm glad that you guys did that.
We all communicated. We got it figured out.
Yeah.
But we mentioned Blue Sky, so you can find me over at Flyperbole or Esteban on there. My Twitter, I'm not using that shit. Don't worry. But the Blue Sky, I'm very active on, so go find me over on that. Jacob, I will tag you in this post. Great job though on revamping the BSH Instagram. I've been loving it. Really good stuff. Keep up the good work on there. Follow Flyperbole over on Instagram, as I mentioned. TikTok, I post the new pods and some clips on there, so follow it. There's some stuff. And then yeah, I think that's basically it. I think I'm working on a couple articles for Broad Street Hockey too, so
yeah,
look out for those.
I'll be doing some more Olympic preview stuff too.
Oh, hell
going into the future. I really want to talk about Rodrigo Abels' Latvian future as the captain.
1C, right?
Captain. I'm hoping he's 1C and the C.
Yes.
I think that would be really funny. It would bring me back to Pierre-Edouard Bellemar's Team Europe escapades. That was also one of my favorite times. So this is right up my alley. Very excited.
I'm working on a little comedic Mishkov Tocchet piece, and then I've got a couple pop culture things with Jason Polinsky coming up. So be on the lookout for all that good stuff. All right, we are going to head out of here. Thank you so much for listening, folks. And until next time, in the words of the great Gene Hart citizens, good night and good hockey. Wow, 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 wow.